akwaba ade ben kasative netifo nyane nkonkohwe eye NDC akache netifo eye attorney general akotinga Ayine ade nsembi aba betodwa a netifo anwadi na ehu kakra na netifo there is this confusion as a friction be across between the previous minister of justice versus the current minister of justice. And I tell for Honorable Godfred Yeboah Damini, lawyer Paul Adomotri, at Nasi Train Comosentino. Wom say Honorable Akutinga Ayine, NDC Nibadi share, and to know any senior pint with a whole lot of respect. And Anna at the man, nationality, what Daniel Nico share, and some I tell for Honorable Akutinga Ayine, Akafa, Attorney General Godfred Yeboah Damini, a tell for Mobona. I know I from Kakra, and if I say, we not put in summer.
I said, why do you learn this? So many people, Akufo-Addo talks about it. Many people, when you come into office, your predecessor. This is Godfred Dami who told me this. He was doing something about the predecessor. The predecessor in question was Dominic Ayine. He was Godfred Dami's predecessor as Deputy Attorney General. And a matter had arisen. And Godfred Dami told me that he doesn't want to do anything about his. So he has called him. He said it, that he has called him and discussed with him. And he has submitted the documents, and that's the end of the matter. Because as far as he's concerned, he was his predecessor. So when I heard the words of Dominic Ayine about Godfred Dami, I was like, wow. I mean, I know that in political showboating and in political sparring on Good Morning Ghana, Good Evening Ghana, on Obi's program, Ekosi saying, politicians do that. So I've heard Tamaklo mention Godfred Dami, talk about him, and I think all of that is allowed. Godfred Dami himself laughs about it. But when the learned Attorney General takes office and holds his maiden press conference and calls his predecessor the names that he did, to the point where the journalists ask him that you have called your predecessor all these names, are you going to take an action on it? And he says, I will keep that to myself. But in terms of publicizing the material, and that's the word I want to use, publicizing the material against Godfred Dami, he had no hesitation in doing that. He did that without any hesitation. When he was asked that, given all what you have said, are you going to pursue? I mean, for the journalist to ask the Attorney General that, for the journalist to suspect that the Attorney General may be willing to press charges against his predecessor, that should suggest to you viewers, if you didn't hear the press conference, the kinds of words he used against Godfred Dami. That's why the journalist said, are you going to press some charges against him because of the words he used? And he said, I'll keep that to myself. Anyway, good evening, sir, once again. Let's get to his press conference now, where he started by explaining, he gave, I think, 3 reasons why he has decided to discontinue some of the cases. One of the early reasons he gave was that some of the cases involved, his law firm has something to do with it. Let's hear the Attorney General.
These cases were the Republic versus Kesial Atoforsen and another, and the Republic versus Ofosu Ampofo and another. This is because I was deeply involved as counsel in these 2 cases. In the case of Republic versus Atoforsen, I was not counsel on record, but my junior partner, Godwin Kujo Tamaklo, also known as Eduji, was a counsel on record. As a team, we discussed our strategy in chambers, and I was involved in reviewing legal arguments and in some instances, authoring some of the arguments that we filed in court. I believed then, and still believe now, that the Honorable Atoforsen was a victim of a political witch hunt and that he had no case to answer in that trial. These cases were the Republic versus Kesial Atoforsen and another, and the Republic versus Ofosu Ampofo and another. This is because I was deeply involved as counsel in these 2 cases. In the case of Republic versus Atoforsen, that the Honorable Atoforsen was a victim of a political witch hunt.
He taught me law at the Faculty of Law. One of the principles that he imbibed in us was that the position of the court is legal authority. Anything else is not legal authority. The opinion of counsel is urged on the court. And when the court agrees with counsel, the position becomes the position of the court. When we consider legal authorities, we are not considering the opinion of counsel. We are considering the decision of the court. the ratio decidendi. Some say ratio decidendi. The ratio decidendi is what is authority. The learned Attorney General tells us that one of the reasons why he dropped the cases of Atuforsen Somapotampofo was that his law firm had been hired to be defense counsel, and therefore it was incongruous or morally reprehensible that him having taken a view that these clients of his were innocent of the charges preferred against them by the Attorney General, that now that by a political twist of events, the election of 7 December 2024, the consequence of that election is that he now moves from defense counsel into Attorney General and therefore prosecutor of the same cases, that he's unable to continue because he had taken a view that these his clients of his were not guilty. That's what the Attorney General said. The Attorney General says his view that the clients were not guilty still stands as his opinion on the matter, that the clients were not guilty. The court has yet to rule on that. So he has not allowed the court to rule. He has the power as Attorney General to enter a nolle prosequi, which is one way, or to simply discontinue the action, which is another way. And either works, and he has power to do both. So viewers, and those of us who are apologists of constitutional law and constitutional amendment, the Attorney General says, this is a precedent that the Attorney General is setting, that every Attorney General or most Attorney Generals will be drawn from private law firms. Let's go way back. Godfred perhaps is the only one who was not drawn from private law firms. Victor Usu was a private practicing lawyer. He became Attorney General. William Oforiatta, practicing lawyer. Ian Moore, practicing lawyer. Joe Randolph, practicing lawyer. They were all doing cases. Akins and the people. Martin Abidu, I think, came straight from the civil service. I don't know much about him, but he was Deputy Attorney General. His boss, Obeda Samoa, practicing lawyer, became Attorney General. Nana Akufo-Addo, practicing lawyer, became Attorney General. I'll tell you a story about Akufo-Addo on this matter. So it is a very interesting matter. I hope that the Democracy Hub people are watching, because Dominic Ayine says that because he had taken a position in his private life that these cases didn't have merit, therefore, that when now he has been transitioned as Attorney General, his view that the cases do not have merit is the reason why he has taken the position that the authority given to him by the taxpayer will be applied coterminous with his legal opinion as a private lawyer. I think that's wrong. I think that cannot be correct. There could be several reasons why Dominic Ayine will stop the prosecution of Ofosu-Ampofo and Atuforsen, and he has the power to do so. In fact, he doesn't even need to tell us. So we are quite gracious, and I agree with Manasseh Azuri and all those people who are applauding Dominic Ayine for coming out to explain. It is facilitating democracy. But this reason that he gave, he must come back. One journalist asked him, and I'm going to play Johnny Hughes' questions, and I like the questions Johnny Hughes asked. One journalist asked him that, Attorney General, are you saying that all the cases that your law firm is... In fact, yesterday, I have to say that I was very pleased with the questions from the journalists. I mean, I was very happy with it. The quality was good. And I wasn't surprised when Dominic Ayine, in addressing them, said that some of you may be lawyers and some of you are law students. Now, he said that because of the same thing I felt. When the person is asking, they say, this guy must have some knowledge of law. Because the questions they were asking him were very solid. I was so proud of the journalist. And I'll show you some of it. He was asked that, are you saying that all the cases that your law firm is doing, you will drop it? And then he started smiling. He was smiling. He said, no, it's not going to be the case. I felt sad. The Attorney General has stood on